Right, welcome back to the last video in our building your own version of Uber series. And so far we've built out the full rider app, but now what we need to do is go and build out the driver app. Now you might be thinking, well, it took us, 4 or 5 videos to build this one, surely it's going to take a while to build the driver app as well. Unfortunately, what you can actually do is come over here, pop into settings, and you can hit copy. And you can just create a new app. So we can call this Uber Clone 2, and call this Driver, and call it Driver Edition, for example. The most important thing to do though is to hit share the same database. Do not copy the database, share the same database. So hit copy, and it takes a little, I was going to say it takes a little while, apparently not. Spun up pretty quickly there. So we've immediately got this. This is our Driver Edition app. Now let me give you a quick refresh of exactly what the app should look like. So this is the driver app here, clearly minus much onboarding, but we kind of want the homepage to look a little bit similar. We've still got a map, but we're going to have the current location set as the user's current street address. We're going to have a list of available rides with all the rides here. We're going to have this little button that allows them to refresh the list or refresh their current address as well. We'll add another one in for that. We've got profile, all the same. And ride details, all it's going to say is similarly estimated pickup time, drop off time, and just this button to accept a ride. We'll then go and calculate the distance between the driver and the user, and then we come to this page here where it tells them go to the address, tells them how long it's going to take. They can confirm the user's picked up, and they can confirm the user is dropped off. And again, this will all sit on conditional visibility around that one variable. It'll update the user to change their home address to their current address, and of course it'll update the ride to mark it as complete. So not that complicated. Let's go ahead and build it for ourselves. So when we pop in here, we're going to keep a lot of what we've already got. We already have the login, we already have the onboarding, so all of that makes sense with one exception. If you remember, we had this field on the onboarding form that says set the driver. This time we're going to set it automatically to true. We're going to hit done, but beyond that, otherwise we can keep the onboarding process more or less the same. You could have something here that says, if the driver is not, if a user's logged in who is not a driver, then kick them to another screen that tells them, you cannot come here, go back to your own screen kind of thing. But again, that's a kind of feature you can decide for yourself if you want to build in or not. Now, let's go start making some of the key changes. And the first thing I'm going to do is delete our nice fancy button up here. I'm going to take our map, I'm going to pull it right up there. I'm going to drag it to be a lot smaller. And I'm going to start adding some of the things onto this page that need to be there. For example, we're going to have a bit of text that says the driver's current address. So I have current address, and then of course we'll do the logged in users current street address. Now remember, we're just using all the same variables. We're still acting with a logged in user, etc. here, except now they're logged in at the driver app, and we're assuming by default, of course, then that they are a driver. I'm also going to put a bit of text in that says available rides. Center that, make it a little bit bigger, 22, let's center it. And I'll put that right there, and then we're going to have a nice simple list. I'll drag that in. You can make a custom list, make any type of list you like, but I like this one. We're going to say this is a list of rides, and if you remember from the previous video, we're going to filter it. We're going to say it's a list of rides where is paid is true, but also where the driver assigned is false. Now, whether or not you want that paid one's up to you. You could take that out and just have driver assigned. It will still broadly work the same, except it might let you pick a ride up a little bit too soon. So I like to have it in there. And just keep it set to true. But we're going to do that. You can have a maximum number of items. You definitely want to sort the created date here by the newest to oldest, so you're getting the most up-to-date rides there. I mean, I guess, again, you could also argue that you might want them to be the oldest first, given they're the ones who have been waiting the longest. Excuse me. For our title, we're going to put in the drop-off address. And for the subtitle, we'll just put something like from, and then we could put the pickup street address. And in the left section, you could do a couple of things here. You could have the image of the requester, or you could put a little icon in there. I'm going to put an icon on the right, however. I'm going to change that to an arrow. Pick right facing arrow. And essentially what we're going to say is every time the user clicks this, it's going to take them to ride confirmation, but our confirmation is going to look different. Starting with, we're going to delete the location search page, which is a shame because it's my favourite looking one. I think it looks quite cool. I'm going to drag this a little bit over here. We don't really need to move it. I'm quite pernicious with these things. We're going to get rid of the pay button. We'll keep the fare in there. And we're going to pop a button right down here, and this is going to say accept ride. I'm going to add a little icon. I'm going to type in car, put the car icon there, drag that out a little bit more, center it up on the page, probably too big to be a bit centered now. There we go, center that up on the page. And so what we're going to say is when the user clicks any item on this list, it's going to take them to the ride confirmation screen, which is right here. So it's going to take them there. And we can make a couple of changes here. So we want this to be a single marker. Rather than show the home address, this is going to show the user's current address, just because that can move. So we're going to have the user's current street address. We're going to have their current city. And we're also going to have their current country. And again, we're just putting that in there so that it shows properly. What did I call that? City, country? Is that what I called that? City, I did, and I thought I'd done that in the last video. I did notice I had something was called city country, and I wondered where that was. Clearly that was supposed to say current country, so apologies on that. Just fixed that now, and of course that will fix it for both apps. So I'm going to add two more things in here. If you think about it, the way this is going to work is the driver has a home location when they log in. They are then going to accept a pickup somewhere. They're going to pick up and drop the person off. When they're dropped off, that drop-off place is now their current address. So I'm going to put a button in there that lets them just refresh that. So I'm going to have a home button in there, and we'll add an action which will just be update the logged in user. And quite simply, we're going to come to current street address. We're going to set that as the home address. So this is just resetting their address back home. Current city, with the home address, and the current country, not the city country, the current country will be the current country. And the other thing that we're going to do is I'm going to put another little action button in there. Just type action here to bring it up, and I'm just going to make this a refresh the page. Where's that little refresh icon? I always forget the name of it. Cache, that's what it was called. So we call it that, and all that's going to do is link the user to the refresh screen page, which of course by default pushes them back. You can move that up there just to kind of show that. And so what's going to happen in ride confirmation is this is where things start to get quite interesting. So we could probably pick up time, take that away and keep the estimated drop off time, because the pickup time is going to depend entirely on kind of where the driver is. So we're going to put that there. But this is where we're going to start to do some interesting work on the workflow side. So the first thing, what I essentially want to do here is when I accept this ride, I want to calculate where the driver is and then recalculate the ride's pickup time based on that. So here's all the things that are going to happen. We're going to do a custom action. We're going to grab the distance data. And we've put pickup street address here, but remember, this is just going to find the distance between 2 points. So although I've wrote pickup street address, it probably should have been from street address, because I'm going to put in the logged in user's current street, because what we're trying to figure out is how long will it take the driver to get from where they currently are to wherever the user is. So we're going to do user current city, we'll do login current country, and then we're going to say, well, wherever the user is the current ride's pickup street address. We're going to hit done on that, And then that's going to go away. It will give us back the information. And then what we can do is update the current ride. So there's a few things we need to change here. We're going to change the driver to now be the logged in user because they've just hit accept ride. They've not hit back, they've hit accept. We are going to leave all of this. We're going to say a driver is now assigned. That's a big deal. And we're going to change the estimated pickup time. So this is back to our fun math. And what I'm going to say is the current time plus open bracket. We're going to go and grab that distance date. We're going to take that duration, say duration, divided by 1140, which if you remember from the last video, gives us our equation. Divide that further by 60, and there we go. I need to just put one more bracket in there that I've left out, sorry. There we go. So that will get the fraction of the day, then it will turn those seconds into minutes, because remember duration comes back as seconds, and there we are. Of course, the estimated drop-off time, you could recalculate the drop-off time. You don't absolutely have to. It's kind of probably broadly correct, but you can kind of say, well, it's going to be the current time, or it's going to be, maybe the requested time might be a smarter place to start. So it's going to be the requested time. How we do this? We do plus open bracket. No, wait a minute, I want to do something different here. For this we actually probably want to do, what was, no, we do need to recalculate it from the start, sorry, I was right the first time. So we probably want to do the requested time. We're going to have to do that plus the, I think we saved the duration of the ride, did we? Yep, drop off time in seconds, there we go. So we're going to do that, we'll do plus 1 I'll explain this just once I've typed it out. So what we've done there is we've taken the original drop-off time that the user first calculated, and we've added that to the ride requested time, which at that time was the current time. We're then going to do plus, so this is, ride requested time is broadly equivalent to the kind of current time. I just don't want to jar the user too much by changing everything. So we're going to do plus 60, and then we're going to just add in this new estimated pickup time by copying the same formula here. So we'll do plus, put another piece of magic data in, grab that duration, and that is of course again divided by 140, close bracket, divided by 60 bracket. A little bit confusing, we'll see if it works when we do it, but essentially what we should have done there is we've said, right, the estimated pickup time is now plus however far away the driver is, and so the estimated drop-off time is, okay, let's just, tell you what, let's change that to now, because I think it makes more sense if you do it as now. Just do that as now. So what we're saying is the estimated drop-off time then is the current time plus the drop-off time plus now the time that it's going to take us to get to the driver. So previously we calculated that as an average of 10 minutes. Now we can be specific, so it could be less than 10, it could be more than 10, but now we're giving the user a real actual time. The pickup time in seconds then will become this duration, so that will get updated, which will update the counter on the rider app. The drop-off time in seconds, you could change that, so you could change that to keep the duration plus this duration. I'm not going to do that. Distance, again, we're not going to change because we're talking about the distance from pickup to destination, which I don't want to change. Fare, etc. all stays the same. One other thing we have to do is create a new address. We have to create a new address. This is going to have, again, a unique ID, so address. Let's put the logged in user's username, and let's do hyphen and do the current time, and of course as ever let's click the little pen and set that to no formatting. And then for the street address we're going to have the driver's current address, because of course we're not coming from the home, we're coming from wherever they are right now. So we'll do new home address, no sorry, I'm doing the exact wrong thing. I literally just said don't do that. It's been a long day of filming. We'll go for current street address. We'll go for logged in users, current city. And by the way, these are the kind of mistakes that trip you up. You know, you obviously find yourself, you'll honestly, find yourself sitting wondering why something won't work, and then you'll pay a little bit more attention and you go, oh, it's because I put in the current address rather than the home address, or vice versa. Or you know, these are the kind of mistakes that end up making you stop for ages trying to figure out what exactly went wrong. What we've done here is we've created a new address. This will now become the newest address linked to that ride, which means back on the user's app, it's going to update again. And it's going to show the right pickup and the right drop off. Now our map's all up to date here. When we accept ride, the last thing then that we have to do is link to the, we'll call it our await and pickup screen, although we're going to change it. So we'll get rid of our we'll get rid of our ride in progress screen. So we'll take out, we need to also reconfigure this because it's not designed for the driver. So we'll take that out, we're going to leave the countdown in. We're going to take the refresh button away. We're going to take, well, we'll just leave it there. So what we're going to do is we're also going to link to await and pickup. I'm going to delete this here, ride in progress. So I'm going to go, oops, I didn't mean to drag it, apologies. I'm losing my shirt there. So I'm going to delete that. And I'm going to put a couple of buttons in here. So we're going to have one that says user picked up, and you could put any number of one icons against this. See if we get one for user, person. Yeah, I quite like that one. So we could say users picked up. And we'll also have another one, copy that, paste that. Have another one that says user dropped off. So user dropped off. We're going to change this colour a little bit just to make it a really distinctive button, because this is going to be the button that ends our ride essentially. So we'll do that, user dropped off. You could change the colours here if you think that's pretty ugly, which to be fair it is. So you could do, well, I mean that's not much better, is it? I don't know if you try maybe a red or something might show up. Anyway, you can experiment with the colours in your own time. I'll just keep it as black for now, I don't mind it. We'll just change the little icon, make sure it all looks nice and snazzy. And then finally I'm going to put a bit of text in there that says where you should be going. And that's just going to say go to the current ride's pickup street address. And then we'll do a second one here that says go to the ride's destination address. And the reason for that is we're going to do some conditional visibility on these. I might make these a little bit bigger, make them 22 size, see how that looks. Yeah, that feels more like it. And again, you could put these on top of each other just to get the right look and feel. I'm not going to bother. So for this text, I'm going to say it should sometimes be visible, and it should only be visible if the current ride is not picked up. So picked up is false, done. However, the drop-off address, of course, is the other way around. It should only be visible if the current ride's pickup address, or sorry, picked up state is true. Similarly, this button should only show up if the current ride is picked up is false. And you can guess where this is going to go, but for the next one, of course, change visibility, sometimes visible, and that should only be visible when the current ride pickup is true. So there we go, we've done all the opposites there. And then in terms of adding some functionality to these buttons then, so let's just make sure our accept ride is linking to that page. Looks like it is. In terms of functionality then, when the user's picked up, here's what we want to do. We want to update the current ride. And we want to say okay to that ride, now is picked up as true. And that's kind of it. Now you could refresh the page at this point if you wanted to. I know I just deleted it, but you could actually just go and refresh it. So you could link to, where's refresh? There we go. You link to refresh screen, take away that transition, and it will work nicely. For the countdown, of course, minutes and seconds, ride pickup time in seconds. We'll leave that as pickup. You could make this jump to another screen if you wanted to really display the drop off, but we'll leave that there for now. So that will refresh the screen, and at this point we can now do alright, well the user's dropped off, let's go to, once they've dropped off we want to do a few things. First thing we want to do of course is update the current ride. So we want to say, is the ride complete? Yes it is. Done. And then the other thing that we probably want to do here, if you remember over there, we've got our rate your ride screen. And so all I want to do is, when the user finishes a ride, let's go and rate the ride. There we go. And again, that screen just looks exactly the same as the other user, with the one exception of, I think, we need to change who we're updating. Oh no, we need to change the rating, who it's aimed at. So we want to say the current ride requester is who we're now going to update in the ratings. And so, with all of that in mind, we should be able to now make a ride. A couple of changes you might want to make down here as well, by the way. You might want to change that to like rides given. Whoops. You might want to change that to rides given. You might want to come into the round count, make sure that the current ride, we actually change it to the driver, so the driver's email is now the detail we're going to match up there. And again, exactly the same with the rating, just making sure we're changing this because we copy and pasted it over, so just making sure that looks all right, that we are making sure everything matches up, connects in, looks right. One last thing on this little refresh link, let me just fix that. I forgot to set transition to none. And we've run through that quite quickly, so we might run into some little bugs here and there. But broadly, that looks like it is going to work. And the one thing that I am going to do is I'm going to pop into the clone app first of all, and I'm just going to make sure I've created a ride. And we'll leave that on await and pick up. Now, I can't really show you them both at the same time, which is going to mean it's kind of hard to show you exactly how this works, but hopefully you'll get the idea. So if I come into the original app, create a ride, now it's just going to tell me the usual information, the usual guff. If I come here, copy the testing card number, paste that in. You'll be very familiar with how to test Stripe at this point. Hit pay now. That's going to get us as far as there. So it's going to say it's looking for a driver. Okay, brilliant. Now what should happen, and let's not guarantee it till we actually see it, but what should happen is if I come here, I'm going to have to run through and create an account and everything actually. Well, maybe not. I'm already logged in. If I come here, and there's a few things that have kind of, one thing that's immediately went wrong, which is we've not set the current address up. So if I hit home to set my current address, and then refresh that, hit home again, let's make sure that's worked. That should, so you can see the rides popping up. Let me just double check what I've done wrong with my address. Now I'm slightly cheating here because I've not signed up, so I have just basically created this with a rider who is not actually a driver, which could be creating some problems. In terms of my addresses, my current address is set, current street set, current country. So I think just for some reason it's not resetting that map. Back in. Oh, there we go. Sorry, it's done it now. Probably just took a wee minute to update. So what will now happen is if I come to 28 Banner Street, I've got that ride available. It says the drop-off time's in 28 minutes, which is exactly what we told the rider as well. You can see the map's updated to show both locations. I can hit accept ride. Now my screen's a little messed up, I'll need to drag that and sort it, but you can see it says go to 15 Savile Row. I can then hit the users picked up, and I've made a little mistake there. So let's just fix that. We always knew there was going to be a bug somewhere. It's very hard to build that many screens at once and not get something somewhere wrong. So let's just fix that, and we'll drag these down just a little bit just to try and sort out all the spacing. So let's see what went wrong here. We said user picked up, we wanted to link to the refresh screen, and it looks like that's where things went wrong, because on the refresh screen by default we want the user to go back, which should have worked. So was it this screen here? Linked rate your ride, so we updated the ride, we should have went to rate your ride. Let's just double check that, see if we've fixed it. There's a couple of little changes there. Yeah, let's just see if that has done the trick for us. And did we configure this map? I think we did. I think we configured the map as well. Let's just check if that's causing any problems. Well, looks okay. Alright, let's try that again. Now, we might need to go and create another new ride. This is where you start, when you're testing things, it starts to get a little bit painful. But we'll just go in, see if we can get it working. So I'll pick this one. I don't know if this one's kind of fully set up because it looks like an old ride. Let's pick it anyway. And you'll see it calculated there before it moved onto the screen, so it's now telling us, right, go to Savile Row. I've not updated that, but and then it will say go to, okay, so it looks like a refresh screen is breaking, so I'm just going to take the refresh out. I'm not sure why that's happening. I might need to recreate that screen, or I could just make another refresh screen, so let's try that actually instead. We'll just create a secondary refresh screen. So go here, we'll go link, create new screen again. So one of the things I'll point out, typically Adalo cloning works incredibly well. I mean, we've basically not ran into any bugs so far apart from this one. But the one thing I will say is, the first time I built this app, I did run into an issue whereby, I'm just going to copy that, paste that, whereby I, when I tried to use current address data linking from this screen over to this screen, so from home to ride confirmation, it didn't work. It just wouldn't show it up. There was no plausible reason it shouldn't. It just didn't work for some reason. So if you are finding weird issues, the best thing you can do is delete the screen and start again. It's a little bit of a pain because you're not going to save 100% of your time, but it can quite frequently be the cause of a problem. Now I'm just going to have to come back in and make another ride here, just because I've went and used them all for testing purposes. So we'll come back in, we'll hit where to, 15 Savile Row, 28 Banner Street. It's going to be a busy street for the taxis today, if we could actually manage to send any of them there properly. I think I've still got that card number. No, I don't. Copy that again, paste that again, 02, 22, 123, hit pay now. Payment successful. It's going to start looking for the driver, and that's fine. So that's when it will show up on our list. And we'll hit preview. And there's our available ride there. Let's go in there. Let's hit accept ride. Let's see what happens. So we've got go to Savile Row. Brilliant. Showing up well so far. And it's shown us on the map. I know it looks a little bit zoomed in. We can hit, alright, we've picked the user up. Refreshed. Oh, do you know what the problem is? Sorry. I've done something really daft there. This is another big warning. When you copy things over, this is what the problem is. On the previous setup, we had an action on here that says await and pick up when the driver selected, link them onto ride in progress. I forgot to delete that, which means that's still happening every time I load that page, and therefore, if you kind of look at the way it worked over here, therefore, that's what's breaking it from working. So really simple thing. Apologies for that. I should have spotted that, but it's a kind of thing you just you miss these things when you're building this stuff out. Yeah. So that's the action on here. One last time, you were getting sick of seeing this screen. One last time, let's just check this. So we're going to do 28 Banner Street. And ordinarily, I'd probably like to go back and kind of edit that footage out, but I think the mistakes are the same ones you might make yourself, so they're probably worth seeing because they are just really common issues. Again, I've said it before, but it's why I like to try avoiding editing this stuff as much as possible, because I think it helps to see the thought process, and I think it also helps to not, to see even someone like myself who, I've been doing this stuff for years. I consider myself an expert in it. I can still make stupid mistakes as well. So now we're looking for driver, pop on to driver edition. Go in, got an available ride, go in here, hit accept ride, and go to Savile Row, user picked up, we'll click that, again it's what that time, and then we can hit user dropped off. Then it will say thanks, how was your ride with now? Well, let's be honest, it was pretty appalling since it took us about 5 times to manage to do it. We'll hit rate driver and finish. And so that creates a rating in the database. I believe what would happen is if I went back to my clone app, and don't worry, I'm not going to do another ride. If I hit the profile, it's not quite showing up my rating just there. Let's just double check the ratings, make sure all that's working as well. So we've got a rating, I believe, in the database, or maybe it didn't record. That was made a few seconds ago. We rated it 1. We didn't record the user. That's what went wrong there. So just a quick fix then on our rating. What went wrong here? Current ride. Yes. Yeah, we should just have to assign that, and that should sort the problem. Anyway, I won't make you suffer through me doing another refresh there, but you can see broadly our app is working. Clearly you can't show both on the screen at the same time, but what you can do on your own device, I'm going to make this available for you to be able to play with anyway. If you go to share, and then you can take your phone, you can scan this QR code. I think it'll actually work through the video, to be honest, because I'm going to leave it as the same one. You can scan through the QR code, and that will essentially let you download the driver edition on your phone. You can get the you can use that at the same time as using the kind of real edition here on the previewer, or you can obviously just download them both as apps, and that will let you test them, and you'll be able to see that end to end your Uber app is working. So really hope you enjoyed that video. Any questions, just let us know on the community forum. Any problems at all, let us know. If Adalo do update with GPS and a dynamic map, then we'll also try and get a video out just to show how you can, I guess, incorporate that into Uber here and make it a little bit better. But as you can see already, you've got more than enough to start a minimum viable product and start building your own no-code business, a little bit like Uber.